Alright, this is the first video I've made in a while, and I kind of wanted to make it special, so I wanted to, play this really old PragurU video, and let's see how it does. I haven't seen it before, but just looked interesting.
If every high school principal gave the following speech, America would be a much better place. To the students and faculty of our high school, I am your new principal and honored to be so. There is no greater calling than to teach young people.
Based.
I would like to apprise you of some important changes coming to our school. First, this school will no longer honor race or ethnicity.
What does that even mean?
I could not care less if you are black, brown, red, yellow, or white.
Damn. Isn't this like the same thing a lot of racists say? Don't care if you're purple, but then you'll ask them about white privilege and they'll be like, well, I don't benefit from being white, and then you'll show them like evidence of it, and then they'll just say, well, I have a right to my opinion.
I could not care less if your origins are African, European, Latin American, or Asian, or if your ancestors arrived here on the Mayflower or on slave ships.
You see, these things are very important dependent on the conversations you're having. If you're talking to people just generally, like paying deep attention to these things, yeah. But if you're trying to have a comprehensive discussion on complex topics, no.
The only identity this school will recognize is your individual identity.
Except if you're trans.
Your character, your scholarship, your humanity.
But we're gonna hate on everyone. Everyone from BLM all the way to trans people.
And the only national identity this school will recognize is American.
Damn. The only real country to us is America. Well, actually, if we go to other videos, they do talk about other countries, so they obviously recognize them.
This is an American public school, and American public schools.
I don't get it. Why are we pretending that PragurU is a public school?
Were created to make better Americans. If you wish to affirm here an ethnic or racial identity, or a national identity other than American, you will have to attend another school.
Damn, it's just like if you don't identify with us, we're gonna segregate you. Just like, jeez. Are exchange students not allowed at PragurU?
This includes after-school clubs. I will not authorize clubs that divide students based on identities such as race, ethnicity, sexual orientation, or whatever else.
So no LGBT pride groups. When I was in high school, we had a gay-straight alliance, so,
may become in vogue in our society.
Isn't gender, or sex, based off one of these things? Like, is there no gendered bathrooms at Prager University?
Those clubs cultivate narcissism.
No. Just because someone's different than you, it doesn't mean that it necessarily draws from that you're better than other people.
An unhealthy preoccupation with the self, while the
That's not what, narcissism traditionally is.
purpose of education is to get you to think beyond yourself.
A lot of, left-wing, academia is made for questioning these things, why do black people suffer more police violence? Well, if we look at redlining and Jim Crow and slavery and understand how these things affected our society, I mean, that takes a lot of scholarship and work.
The school's clubs will be based on interests and passions.
But those things you just had were all interests and passions.
Clubs that transport you to the wonders and glories of art, music, astronomy, languages you do not already speak.
So is PragurU just trying to shit on anything that's not like a STEM field or something. Like, um, as far as I'm concerned, like women's studies and gender studies, etc. I think these are perfectly valid because they help us understand the world from a different perspective, and we can totally see how PragurU is trying to silence these perspectives.
And more. If the only extracurricular activities you can imagine being interested in are those based on ethnicity, race, or sexual identity, that means that little outside of yourself really interests you.
So you're saying that like kids that want to have like a gay straight alliance are just narcissists? It's not like they could be possibly being bullied because they're LGBT, right? Like uh alliances like anti-racist groups, like if there's a lot of racism at a school, I think there should be committees dedicated to fighting that around the campus.
Second, I do not care whether English is your native language. My only interest in terms of language is that you leave this school speaking and writing English
Damn.
as fluently as possible. The English language has united America's citizens for over
English isn't America's like national language. There isn't one.
200 years, and it will unite
Probably in the next couple decades, like all federal forms will come written in Spanish and English.
us at this school. Furthermore,
Like, my girlfriend, she's half Dominican. She doesn't know Spanish, but she really wishes that she did because it's a lot of opportunity for the future. And I think once I get an education, that I'll want to learn Spanish too because I think it'll be useful for the future.
I would be remiss in my duty to ensure that you will be prepared to successfully compete in the job market.
Is that all education is to conservatives? It's like they don't understand valuing education for its own sake. They value it as a method to get financial wealth and power. And the types of people who do well in these sorts of markets tend not to be the most humanitarian. They're generally the people who are more willing to engage in problematic behavior to get ahead.
If you leave this school without excellent English language skills, we will learn other languages here. It's deplorable that most Americans only speak English. But if you want classes taught in your native language rather than in English, this is not the right school for you.
Okay. Like, I don't see that happening a lot. Maybe as things progress and more people start speaking Spanish in America, maybe we might have these sorts of things where. But I think by then we'd be just teaching kids Spanish already as these schools, like when kids get into elementary school. So at that point, if like a teacher decides to teach the class in Spanish, that might actually help them learn the language. So I don't, like, how are you going to have a language class PragurU without people speaking other languages in classes?
Third, because I regard learning as a sacred endeavor, everything in this school will reflect learning's elevated status. This means, among other things, that you and your teachers will dress accordingly. There
Damn, dress codes, low key, are the worst things about schools. I hated dress codes. It seems so restrictive for no reason, and a lot of the dress codes just tend to be really misogynistic. Like, well, you can't have short shorts on because it might distract people. Like, there's a lot of things that are distracted. Like, if I said, "Hey, teach, can you please leave or change your clothes? Your bowl is just a bit too big because you're wearing sweatpants," or some shit like that. Like, I don't think they would take my side on that situation. But for some reason, whenever male teachers are involved, we take their sides as compared to the women, which kind of says a lot about our society.
will be a dress code at this school. And you will address all teachers by their title, not by their first name.
Damn. I still, it seems like a relic of the past, really. Like, even at work, most of the time, like, I never talk to my boss and, Mr. or Mrs. Like, generally, we just go by first names. If we're trying to prepare people for the market, most people don't do this.
They are your teachers, not your pals. 4.
These aren't mutually exclusive things. I've had plenty of friendships with teachers.
No obscene language will be tolerated anywhere on this school's property.
Yeah, but you could, say transgender people, aren't valid, and other hateful things. Just don't say the word fuck, okay?
By obscene language, I mean the words banned on radio and television, plus epithets such as the B word.
Fucking Ben Shapiro, wet ass P word,
Even when addressed by one girl to another, or the N word, even when used by one black student to another.
Imagine this being enforced in real life, right? Like, imagine two kids are at the cafeteria, and a teacher hears them say it. Yeah. Most of the time when kids curse anyway, I don't think there should be a big deal about it, depending on what it is. If someone's cussing someone out, that's a lot different context than if they're at lunch and they're cussing. All kids do it. It's like how they learn how to rein it in. A lot of the time when you're growing up, there's a phase where you cuss a lot and you don't really know how to do it, and so you're just doing it a lot. And I feel like when kids are in this educational phase, this is how they learn how to express themselves in an appropriate way, to use their words. I think that's a way worse problem when a lot of kids are using violence.
It is my intent that by the time you leave this school, you will be among the few your age to distinguish between the elevated and the degraded, the holy and the obscene.
The Ubermensch and the degenerate, you could say. Jesus Christ.
5th, we will end all self-esteem programs.
Yeah, self-esteem, man. We wouldn't want kids to have that.
In this school, self-esteem will be attained in only one way. The only way self-esteem can be attained, by earning it. One immediate consequence.
Okay, are they gonna say grades? Because that's kind of fucked up. If you only say that the only people that deserve to have high self-esteem are those who can basically get good grades. If you judged every person there's this quote, if you tell a fish the only way to be valuable is their ability to climb a tree, they're gonna grow up all of their lives thinking that there's something wrong with them. Just because you can't perform within the educational paradigm doesn't mean that you're less valuable, and I don't think we should say that the sole way people should get self-esteem from school is grades and stuff. But they could turn it around.
That graduating classes will have one valedictorian, not 8.
But what if they have an equal GPA?
6th and
what if it's a straight up tie?
last, I am reorienting the school toward academics and away from politics and propaganda.
Okay, so the education system in America, where everyone every morning, without even understanding the meaning of the American Pledge of Allegiance, do it every day. A lot of kids that I knew personally, I got bullied by teachers for sitting down during the Pledge of Allegiance. And so if that's not propaganda, I don't know what is. As well as if you're wanting to educate someone, talking about politics is required. If you're trying to teach the American Revolution or the Civil War without engaging in the politics of the time, you are not getting a full understanding of these historical events. So, no, I think politics should be in education, but in an informed way, in which you're not forcing things that aren't factual. If you're forcing opinions on people, that's one thing. But if you're talking facts, like if you're telling people that gender transition often has better effects than not transitioning if you have gender dysphoria. Now, a lot of people would say that's controversial, but in my opinion, well, the science says so. So we should talk to people about this. Same thing with climate change and evolution. Like the facts say this. We shouldn't try to cancel facts because it hurts conservatives' feelings.
No more time will be devoted to racism, sexism, Islamophobia, homophobia, global warming.
Damn. Yeah, we won't be talking about global warming, homophobia, Islamophobia, sexism, racism, tobacco, all of these things. We won't be talking about them, but we'll, like a lot of these things they'll tolerate. Like global warming, the nitrogen cycle. Like these are very important things to teach people. Teaching people about tobacco and its effects could actually prevent people from doing it. I know a lot of conservatives hate actual education and they prefer to like make kids ignorant, but it doesn't work and it actively causes harm to our communities.
Or gender identity.
There will be you'll walk up on the first day and you'll say like teacher, you told us to use your title, but we're not talking about gender identity anymore. So what should I call you? Well, you're not allowed to talk about that at all. So you'll just call me teacher. Like,
no more classes will be devoted to condom wearing and teaching you to regard sexual relations as no more than a health issue.
Sexual relations are a health issue, but they're also a social issue, dependent on that relationship. So if you're having sex with your significant other, that could be something where you could teach people how to respect each other's boundaries and other things. Again, this is just anti-scientific. PragurU is not a university. It's just a bunch of billionaires paid this guy, Dennis Prager, to do propaganda, if you can't tell by now.
And there will be no more attempts to convince you that you are a victim because you are not white or male or heterosexual or Christian.
But isn't it like the right that has like the whole Christian like persecution complex? It's like we're not going to like even we are an educational institution apparently, and we're not going to talk to people and examining the differences between various genders, religious beliefs, sexualities, etc. That's not educational. That's not seeking these things out academically. Like,
this school will have failed if any of you graduate without considering him or herself inordinately lucky.
oh yeah, dude. Like you're so like how can you be lucky? Isn't luck like a privilege? So if like you could say if white cis men who were straight just got way more lucky in our society, like isn't that a privilege? Like isn't luck an inherent privilege? This is the same reason why a lot of people don't like inheritance.
Lucky to be alive and lucky to be an American. Now, please stand and join me in the Pledge of Allegiance
But isn't that propaganda?
to the flag of
This whole video is propaganda, so the irony of them saying that they're not going to do propaganda is fucking hilarious.
our country. As many of you do not know the words, your
Oh yeah, dude, like I could say it right now. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America, to in which the republic for which it stands, one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for. I messed it up a little bit, but you know, for the most part, I got it. So
teachers will hand them out to you.
all right. Well, we made it through this video. Dependent on how this recording went, I might make another one soon. So take care, everyone. Like, comment, subscribe.